You know, it's just another peaceful day at Dubai airport. Everything is fine. You know, we have a 757 here, or is that a 767? Yeah, that looks more like a 767 to me. We have a beautiful 747, the queen of the skies over here from Cathay Pacific, which most probably connects Dubai to Hong Kong in some kind of route. Very beautiful. Yeah, we also have a 777 here. This is a very good day at the airport, and we have some more planes here. This is a 777, and what do we have behind? Oh no. It's the Carvair. Hey guys, welcome back to another Switzers in One video. And today, we're back in X-Plane. Today, we're gonna talk about the Aviation Traders Carvair, which is a very, yeah, you can see it's a special one. Well, how should I even start with this? I actually mentioned this plane before in some other videos, especially some videos where I mentioned the ugliest planes, because this is indeed a very, you know, strange looking plane, to say the least. It's super weird. So this plane is quite old. It came out in 1961. Its manufacturer is Aviation Traders, which used to be an actual aircraft manufacturer from Britain. Yes, this is a British plane. You know, back in the 20th century, there were quite many planes from Britain, but now Britain is kind of a dead plane manufacturer country, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of a 747, but with some weird problems. I don't even know. This is so weird. There's so much to talk. I mean, it's so hard to dive into the topic of this plane. This plane is based on a DC-4. Basically, what Freddie Lakers, which is the founder of Aviation Traders, did was get a DC-4 and put a top deck onto that one and make that the cockpit area. It's a bit weird. This thing has 4 radial engines, as you can maybe see if you have eyes. So what was the actual idea behind having this top deck here, which we only know from planes like the 747? Now, actually, the idea was that you'd have a passenger cabin in this area. This front area should be used for cargo, you know, having around 22 passengers in the rear and around, I think it fit 5 cars loaded at the front. I think this actually makes sense, and, you know, it's kind of a cool, you know, aircraft or a cool concept, but the thing is, it actually became reality, which is kind of terrifying. Like, look at this. Now, today, this aircraft is already retired, which is quite obvious since this plane was again introduced in the early 60s. Also, there were only like 21 of these planes built, so yeah, there are not too many in this world. I'm pretty sure you can, you know, visit a real-life Carvair in some museum, most probably in Bristol or something. Now, as you can already tell by the livery, this plane was actually used by some mainstream airlines. For example, Aer Lingus used it, also BUAF used it, and BAF, which used to be some pretty major British airlines. Those all used it. And kind of surprisingly, this plane was also used in Central Africa, for example, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, also during the 60s, which is kind of weird since the only other airlines that were using it were British. Now, maybe another fun fact is that out of 21 built aircraft, 8 were destroyed in crashes, which is very sad. But you know what? Let's actually fly this plane, right? Yeah, let's just take off this way because I don't want to taxi onto a runway, so we are flying. Okay, let's hope that this thing does not crash like the other models. Now, the gear retraction is very interesting, as you can see right here. The gear is actually stored in the engines, which is kind of weird. This is the cockpit. This is not a 3D cockpit, you know, this is not fancy, but it seems to work all right. Obviously, since this is a very old plane, we have manual gauges and stuff like that. Now, this seems like a, you know, pretty solid. No, it does not seem like a pretty solid plane. Actually, it kind of does look like it's falling apart any minute. I mean, this looks like it's drawn by a 4-year-old. Oh, yes, it has died. This plane is seen as a kind of a failure, actually, by many people, because obviously there were not many sales, which is obviously kind of understandable. I mean, even though the 60s were quite a long time ago, this plane was still outdated for that time, since there were obviously already many jet planes around, you know, like the 707 and some other airplanes. Even the Concorde came out in the 60s and the 747, so this thing was already pretty outdated when it came out, so no one was really interested. This looks like a certain animal, like a pelican, kind of. Yeah, probably that one. And do you know what kind of animal a pelican is? Obviously, it's a bird. Now, maybe this plane could also be a goose or something, but it's some kind of bird. Yeah, only 1 out of 4 engines have failed, but this doesn't seem like a good flight. So yeah, passengers, please be prepared for a good landing in the ocean. In the ocean. Yeah, we reached sea level quite early. Gotta say that. It was quite unexpected. No, maybe let's try flying in some certain weather conditions. Maybe not the best idea, but this is a plane, so it might work, you know? Actually, this plane kind of operates quite well at runways like these. Like, this is a pretty short runway. This thing seems to handle it just fine. Seems to work quite well. I still cannot really look at this. Like, I cannot take this thing seriously. I don't think anyone can. What I'm actually wondering is what this string does. Like, honestly, I don't know. Oh, goodness. I mean, does it help with the stability of this plane? Yeah, this is kind of crashed anyway. I mean, we just had a nice water landing, if you can say that. Now, actually, the price of this was quite low. This was only 2 million pounds with inflation. So back then it was around 50,000 pounds, but today it's 2 million. So this plane was quite easily affordable by smaller airlines as well, which were actually the biggest customers, you know, next to Aer Lingus and the major British airlines. There were quite a few smaller airlines that are super dead today. Maybe this thing can do looping, maybe not. I don't think this was a good idea, but we are still in the air, and that's always what we want, right? I mean, truly, no one is scared of flying itself. What people are actually scared of is suddenly not flying, and we have actually pretty much died. This is dead, very dead. Now, still, this plane was actually pretty much sold all around the world. There were even some Australian carriers, and right now I do wonder how to get a plane like this to Australia, but that's a whole nother topic. I mean, wouldn't it crash before arriving there? I kind of like the personality of this plane, and if we crashed again, how does this keep happening? You know, this plane is kind of sympathisch, man kann sich unterhalten mäßig. Other than being pretty ugly, that's kind of it for this plane. There's not too much to it. So, yeah, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.